Alright, so in problem 22-15, it's asking us to put together a flexible overhead budget. And so we have a Leno Manufacturing Company. It says they're expected to require 20,000 hours of productive capacity. It gives us the variable cost and fixed cost based on this 20,000 hours. And then it says, hey, prepare a flexible budget based on 3 different hours of production. So we want to look at 18, 20, and 22,000 hours. So we can go ahead and plug that in here. And so for the cost, for a variable and fixed cost, it gives us our numbers based on 20,000 hours. So that's be $180,000 for indirect factory labor, $12,000 for power and light, and $64,000 for indirect materials. It also gives us the fixed cost of $80,000 for salaries, $50,000 for depreciation, and $32,000 for insurance. So that part's nice and easy. And so since these variable costs are going to depend on how many hours are produced, we just need to adjust these costs based on this many hours. And so to do that, if we take the total cost and divide it by the hours, that gives us our cost per hour, and we multiply it times the hours in this scenario. And so to make our lives a little bit easier, we'll let Excel do a little bit of our work for us. So we just want to lock down the column for our cost. And we want to lock down our denominator here. And we want to lock down, let's see, the row here. Okay. So now all we have to do is drag it. Oh, we got a line disappear. And so now, so for indirect materials, taking the cost divided by the hours divided by our new set of hours. And so we adjusted proportionately down for the 18,000. Now we just adjust proportionally up for the 22,000. So same idea. We take our 180 divided by our 20, multiply it times our 22. We want to lock down the column here. Lock down our denominator and keep our row for the direct labor hours. And so now we've adjusted our variable costs based on how many direct labor hours we plan on using. Fixed costs are even easier. So fixed costs don't change based on production. So fixed costs are going to stay the same. So we can just copy and paste those over. And so now we have our estimated cost budget based on 3 different levels of production. All right, let's go to our next one, which is 22-18. And so in this problem, we have Bloomin' Textile Corporation. See, we began with a budget of 90,000 hours. Full capacity is 100. It gives us our standard cost for variable and fixed overhead. And then it gives us our actual overhead of 782,000 and actual hours of production of 92,500. And so it wants us to look at the variable factory overhead, controllable variance, and the fixed factory overhead volume variance. And so this little chart, this is taking a single cost and breaking it between actual and standard. What it's asking us to do here is actually look at two different kind of costs, both variable and fixed. So to do this, we'll just have to create just two different schedules to look at. And on the variable cost, this is just asking us to look at the price variance, and on the fixed, it wants us just to look at the quantity variance. So we can plug our actual quantity in. So it says the actual quantity was 92,500. And then for the actual price, so this is the actual price per hour is what it wants. So we have total hours here, and we want the price per hour. So to do that, we want to look at the actual variable cost. And so we have 782,000 total costs for April. We're just looking at the variable costs. We want to subtract out the fixed. So we have 782 and subtract out the fixed of 240,000. And then just divide that by our total hours. So the actual price was $5.86, which gets us to our variable controllable cost, our actual cost of 542,000. And so then it tells us that our standard budget is 90,000 hours. And our variable cost is 540,000. We want it per hour, so we divide that by our hours. It gets us a standard rate of $6. So now we have our actual cost. Now we have our flexible budget, so we can figure out our price variance. So that gives us a negative, for part A, a negative 13,000, which is favorable because we spent less than we planned. So now let's look at the fixed volume variance. And so for the volume variance, that's our quantity variance, we want the flexible budget minus the standard cost. So we want to know the actual hours. And so we already figured that out, 92,500. And then we want our standard quantity. Now, so for fixed cost, that's not going to be the budget, that's going to be the total capacity. And so the total capacity is 100,000. And our price per hour is going to be our fixed cost, which is 240,000. Divide that by our quantity of hours, so we have $2.40 per hour of capacity. So for the flexible budget, we have 222,000 minus 240,000. So we have a negative 18,000. So that is unfavorable.